Welcome to TMG Today. Join other master manifestors across the globe to turn your goals into reality at lightning speed. Here, we connect the dots for you so you can skip all the nonsense and finally get unstuck. Right here on the Manifestor's Guide today. Let's go.
Hello, fellow adventurers, and welcome back to TMG Today, the Manifestor's Guide podcast. I am Dewey Taylor.
And I am Charlie Carroll. Good to see you all again.
Good to see you. Good to hear you. It's great to be back. I'm so excited that we are here, Charlie. It's been a little while. We had a really interesting experience pop up that, we could have kept trying to produce episodes for the podcast. And, it was more of the universe just saying, hey, now's the time to pause and allow for some things to come in.
It was such an experience initially in that headspace, right? When I got ill. I got COVID, everyone. And
and I had COVID twice, so everybody also knows. So there's lots of COVID going around.
And it really just goes to show that, when we look at things, through the paradigm of good or bad versus just polarity, right? Yes. There's always the negative pole and the positive pole in everything, including
Absolutely.
COVID. And, there was definitely that mindset starting off of like, oh, okay, well, we got to figure this out. We got to keep producing episodes. We got to just and we decided to take a small break. And then we did really realize that this was a chance to just refresh and reset. And go, let's get organized. Let's really decide what we want for this podcast. And the fun thing was, did we not have awesome growth while we were not putting episodes out there, but more people were finding this.
Just so everybody knows, all the listeners who've been with us from the beginning, I so appreciate you guys. But we have gone from, I think we tripled our listenership during this break. It's been phenomenal. It's just kept increasing and growing and expanding. And we talk about value exchange all the time, right? So obviously we're creating something that puts value out into the world, and you guys are exchanging it. And this is getting to more people, and it is creating more change in the world. By the way, if you guys want to share in more value and you find anything valuable in this episode, as always, like, share, and subscribe. We are on both YouTube and podcasting apps everywhere. That's one of the things, we're coming back to you and really excited about being back, because during this time, during this break, we really allowed for rest and allowed for space for things to come in. And we talk about law of compensation a lot, right? When you create the space and you tune into those higher frequencies, all of a sudden solutions show up that you didn't even know you were really looking for. And you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Or even solutions that you didn't know you were allowed to consider.
Exactly. And I feel like that's exactly what has happened for us. Not so many things, and this is beyond what we'll talk about today, but so many things have clicked into place for us during this break that have introduced more ease. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Gosh,
but
fantastic.
Just ease and more ease. It has been a phenomenal experience. One of those things is we have realized some format changes moving forward on the podcast are not only going to make it easier to produce more episodes and make them faster, but it's also going to provide more value with the way we're doing it. So we're going to slowly kind of unroll and unveil those format changes as we are moving forward. But stay tuned, because they're very, very cool. And one of those small format changes we're actually going to do today, because we're making a really cool announcement. The release and the relaunch of our book, The Manifestor's Guide to Ease, which Charlie and I co-authored together. So Charlie, I want to take a moment and talk about, because this is exciting for us.
It is super exciting.
I just want to talk a little bit about why we even wrote this book in the first place, and what it's about, and what value does it offer out into the world.
Absolutely. Well, and I'll just even start kind of just to connect the conversation we just moved from into this. It's, what we're putting this book out now. We wrote this book. This book was kind of a starting point for the Manifestor's Guide. And wasn't our goal really just, last year when COVID was just becoming such an item and the world was descending into this space of feeling out of control of their lives. And we go, gosh, let's just focus on ease. Let's look at these universal law principles and focus on ease. Because isn't this what, that whole truth that sets you free kind of a thing?
Absolutely.
So yes, and here we are, almost a year later after initially working on this and putting it out there in this way. And that wasn't where we started, but it's just the universe along the way, as we just continue to lean into what we wanted this to be and what this wanted to be. And I love that this book is coming out now. And I love that we're putting it out there in this way.
I totally agree. And that's really what you just said. It's about introducing ease into our world and into our experience. And that's what this book is. We preach all the time. We have our Master Manifestor system. We kind of started with our Manifestor's Guide to Ease system and have gone into the Master Manifestor system. And we have tons of members in our Inner Circle online community who you guys hear questions from all the time. We're actively working with these members. Our goal at TMG is to create 1 million Master Manifestors across the globe, because when we are the ones who realize we're creating our reality, you think about how much the world can change with 1 million people who are master manifestors. People on the level of like Oprah. Oprah says it all the time. I can think a thought, I can know exactly what vibration to tune into, and I can just let it come right to me. And the next day I'll get a phone call and it's some world-changing thing. That's how she manifested her cable television network OWN. She literally thought about it, and then the next day she got a phone call, and she's saying, I can turn these really powerful things into reality within 24, 48 hours. That is what we're doing here at the Manifestor's Guide. And that's really what this book is doing, which is so exciting, is to introduce that ease. We call it the magic of ease.
Yes.
We've done a lot of research. We've talked to neuroscientists, speech pathologists, all sorts of people who deal with multisensory auditory and visual experiences, kinesthetic learning. And what we've done is developed not only our entire system that way, so it permeates through every pore of you as a human being, and you actually believe and align in every sense with where you're going and what you're creating. But this book experience is such a multisensory experience, to be able to read it and to listen. So what we decided to do, and I'm so excited, this is part of our format change. We want to do some really cool stuff like this moving forward. We're actually going to let you guys listen to the first 4 chapters of our book today.
It's easy.
Exactly.
It's not meant to be this intense, deep dive. We save the deep dives for the podcast. Yes. And the Master Manifestor system. This is meant just to really lift your spirit and go, this is meant to connect you with the energy.
It's an incredible tool. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I even listen to this.
Yeah.
I use it, and it absolutely does the job. And I would love for people just to listen to the intro. By the time you get to the end of this book, it is phenomenal, the experience that you have and the amount of ease and calm and resoluteness and stillness and alignment that you feel. And that's the whole purpose of this book, is to allow people to feel that they can be in this vibrational space 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's what it feels like to be a master manifestor. So we're so excited. After this short break, you guys, we're going to roll out the first 4 chapters and allow you to listen to the audiobook for the Manifestor's Guide to Ease. And then we'll pop in at the very end and say goodbye, because we just appreciate you guys so much. And we're so grateful to be back here with you guys. And we have a lot more great episodes coming up here in the future. We'll see you guys back here and listen to the first 4 chapters in just a second. TMG is partnered with Podbean to bring you new episodes each week. Are you finally ready to step into your own power and let your voice be heard? Well, then why not start your very own podcast? Remember, what you find ordinary, others will find extraordinary. It's never been easier to produce and distribute your podcast to every major podcasting app available. Podbean also makes monetizing your podcast foolproof, so you can add value to the world while you're making money. Thanks to our partnership, you can try your first month absolutely free. Visit podbean.com/TMG today. That's podbean.com/TMG today.
Brain science has shown that by the time you're 7 years old, you've installed a program in your mind that you'll run for a lifetime. And for 99% of us, we're running a program of struggle. But you can change that. At TMG, we've designed a system to install this new programming to get you exactly where you want to go. With the power of brain science and multisensory learning, you'll discover your path of least resistance as you manifest your goals into reality. And for a limited time, you can try the Manifestor's Guide to Ease system absolutely risk-free. This system comes with unlimited access to weekly coaching for accelerated results, as well as instant membership into the Manifestor's Inner Circle online community. If you're ready to finally get unstuck and create the ultimate life success you know you're capable of, visit ManifestorsGuide.com. Use coupon code TMG today for 10% off, and we'll send the Manifestor's Guide to Ease system to your email right now. That's ManifestorsGuide.com.
You're listening to The Manifestor's Guide to Ease by Dewey Taylor and Charlie Carroll, narrated by Dewey Taylor. Introduction. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. Nikola Tesla. The law of attraction can be summed up in one simple sentence. You attract that which you give your attention to, wanted or unwanted. This idea has permeated mass consciousness through books, media, through endless coaching and personal development tools. The law of attraction might be considered an ancient concept, but just like the law of gravity, it's always working, whether you realize it or not. As we will later discuss, this law is only one component of manifestation, and when working in harmony with other cooperative components, creates our entire reality. Good or bad, you create everything that happens in your life. Because the universe is just, fairness is at the core of the law. The law is truly universal. It doesn't care about who we are, what our religious beliefs are, our current circumstances, sex, gender, ethnicity, origins, or geography. The law applies to everyone at all times. It doesn't care where we were born, what we look like, or which side of the cultural or political spectrum we sit. It holds to one precept. That which you believe will exhibit in your physical world. Our outer world is a mirror of our inner world. Thoughts become things, and we have the choice to be either reactive, responding to external circumstances that we perceive are happening to us, or proactive, deliberately creating our experience from the inside out, regardless of circumstance. It's the fairest and most equitable thing that could possibly exist because all we need is the one thing we have complete control over: our thoughts. If this is true, why can't we just imagine something we desire and it instantly appears? Well, we can. Most of us already have. We've all certainly thought of someone we know only to have them reach out shortly after. I was just thinking about you. We have imagined a certain food, a random item, or even someone saying a specific something to us, only to have it show up in our life just as imagined. This is exactly what I wanted. Anything you imagine is possible to manifest into your physical world. However, we often create reasons why we're not seeing the final desired result. While reasons seemingly differ depending on circumstance, we can sum them up with one simple word: blocks. A block is a form of limiting belief, an idea we hold true about our incapabilities, caps on potential, assumptions of struggle, impossibility, or what is rational. These beliefs will manifest as physical experiences that cause us to feel doubt, fear, or worry. Still, it's core to the human experience that despite perceptions of our own shortcomings, we still desire more. It might even be said that we hunger for any number of things. Yet, unlike our physical hunger, which we feel confident can be satiated by simply reaching into our refrigerator, our limiting beliefs create the illusion that our hunger for success, prosperity, love, or excitement are much more complicated, even impossible to satisfy. Since these beliefs are constantly informing our actions and reactions to this pinballing of desire versus belief, we tend to respond to life in the same ways on repeat, creating a pattern of similar experiences over and over again, essentially blocking the desire from manifesting. This is the reason for re-emerging cycles in our lives. That nagging feeling that we've been here before, yet many never connect the dots, moving through life unaware that they were ever the designer of these cycles to begin with, thus never breaking free from them. Different details, same lessons. Sound familiar? The universe isn't testing you. It's showing you the gap between you and your desire. The purpose of this guide is to introduce the magic of ease into your experience, removing focus from any blocks by simply vibrating above them, which is the essence of ease. Imagine your life being easy. Money, love, time, relationships, cooperation, recognition, all coming easy, like a giant exhale. Ease feels soothing and light, alleviating any aggravation. That's why it's easy. By this simple introduction of ease, our desire seamlessly manifests into the physical world without surprise. The natural next step? Manifestation? I don't get it. If it's not yet crystal clear, fear not. It will make sense as we continue along. Remember, this is easy. The tools provided in this guide are meant to illuminate negative unconscious thoughts, blocks, to allow enlightened conscious creation, ease. Whether a saged student of law of attraction or a newbie who is greener than a well-manicured lawn, anyone can utilize this guide as a tool which, once fully digested, will no longer be needed. After all, we've already trained ourselves into current beliefs by repetitive thought. Therefore, through studying this material, we spend more and more quality time with ease until it becomes second nature, a cooperative component of the subconscious mind. True belief. The easiest way to make the wonderfully creative engine of ease your new default is to practice it on repeat. As we implement these ideas in ease, we continue to relax into the present regardless of the circumstances. We know that the details will unfold with our best interest in mind. Blocks will melt away simply because we no longer believe they exist. How can it be so easy? It's easy because we define our world. Just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, we have never needed anything outside of ourselves to be or have everything we desire. The universe has always been taking and delivering our order exactly as it was placed, no matter how wonderful or miserable the results. We are worthy, capable, and powerful enough to realize our strongest desires and be our best selves right now. Let's play a little bit by dissecting our universal order and the amount of clarity in which the order is placed. Before we jump in, let's recap the basic ideas of the manifestation adventure and introduce some of what we'll be covering in the Manifestor's Guide series. Chapter 1. The Basic Idea. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Albert Einstein. Something led to the purchase of this book. An inner voice, that little whisper of spirit urging deeper exploration, moving closer to soul purpose. This wonderful curiosity allows for the exploration of the mysterious, magical power we possess. The power of thought. While it's wonderful that so much information exists about the law of attraction, as do people teaching from their own perspective, there is a downside. The seemingly endless resources, teachings, and seminars at hand can give the impression that deliberately creating our reality is this complex, multi-layered process that we're having to learn from scratch. A multitude of books, videos, teachers, and coaches might convince some that there's still a secret to uncover, a process to learn, or a puzzle piece left to discover before we can manifest our desire. As serious as this place can seem, we are here to expand through exploration, discovery, and improvement of our conscious tuning. But we are here to do this as we are actively manifesting, not in order to manifest. Universal law requires no effort, but rather intention and selection. The truth is that we are the universe. Just as sun rays emanate from their central source, we are a ray of God, the Creator, Source, infinite intelligence, whatever form divinity can be understood. For the purpose of our exploration, let's release the need for semantics. While each of us may be an individuation of Source, we are all made of the same material. Science confirms you are made of stardust. Therefore, you literally are the universe. Being months or years into engaging teachings or going to illuminating seminars is exciting, yet seeing so little result can be discouraging. This is not evidence that the information is bad or wrong, but instead that no matter how much learning is done, holding a subconscious belief that we're inadequately informed about how to work with the law of attraction can lead us to believe in this missing puzzle piece. Then, because the law is always active, this belief manifests, get ready for this, the need for a missing puzzle piece in the first place. This is why we can feel like we're treading water, always behind the 8 ball or searching for that master key that, once we have it, will open the floodgates, ushering us into the life of our dreams. It is only so because you say it is so. In fact, because we place our most important desires in our dreams, and our dreams is the only place those desires can exist. It is ultimately an assumption that we aren't worthy, that we aren't already fully equipped to manifest our desires into physical form. No amount of seeking, practicing, praying, or visualizing techniques will overcome this when there is doubt. In fact, persisting in this assumption will only create more need for trying, practicing, and seeing evidence that this must be harder than I think. Instead, we could just be creating more of what we want, seeing wonder in constantly improving manifestations, understanding that learning and growing is a never-ending and integral part of creating the life we desire and not at all a signal that we're doing it wrong. We only experience lackluster results because we've trained ourselves to expect this. Well, stop it. The key we're after is not found in learning more, doing more, or achieving more, but simply in surrendering and introducing, you guessed it, ease. One who lives in ease lives in a constant state of assumption that, despite appearances, all is unfolding in the interests of what they desire. Sounds easy, right? Yeah, sure, maybe on paper. Give yourself permission to see yourself as a master, as opposed to a student. Why does the idea of things being easy sound so, well, difficult? This is because of our programming. The concept of surrender exists in a different paradigm than most of our cultural and social conditioning, which has oriented us for struggle, hard work, painfully wrought achievement, sacrifice, and acceptance of dissatisfaction or disappointment. Money doesn't grow on trees. Remember that? What about hard work pays off, or relationships take effort? These subconscious beliefs tell us that we must earn love, earn money, earn worthiness. This programming tells us I am not enough as I am to deserve or attain everything I desire right now in this moment without exerting any effort. If this is so, how do we transition away from doubting ourselves and the universe to living in full expectation of our desires manifesting into physical form? Let's say it together. With ease. Accepting the use of tools and processes to expand understanding is the first step in introducing ease. The manifestation adventure we're exploring in this guide has 5 simple steps: desire, knowing, patience, allowing, and receiving. With this in mind, we'll be discussing the basic mechanics of universal law and how simple it can be to enter the space of allowing, the space from which all desires manifest. So let's have some fun and explore, beginning with a quick review of universal law. Chapter 2: Universal Law. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Buddha. While the most popular, the law of attraction isn't the only universal law. Universal laws are inherent, unchanging laws that ancient cultures have instinctively known all across the globe. From early Hawaii to ancient Egypt, these laws have existed before communication was even possible between cultures, leading to the belief that they are intrinsic, found within everyone long before reprogramming or social conditioning could tell us otherwise. Throughout the centuries, philosophers, teachers, businessmen, scientists, the greatest minds that have ever lived, have all continually proven these laws from a variety of perspectives, cementing their legitimacy. They all work harmoniously to create thought into physical form. This process is what we call manifestation. Being in vibrational harmony with all 12 universal laws is what allows conscious creation. So, cherry picking doesn't work here. We'll be adventuring into these concepts, exploring them from a unique perspective. However, we must first familiarize ourselves with each. Now that we're curious to know more, let's dive in and explore them, one at a time. Law 1. The law of divine oneness. Everything is connected to everything else. All that we do, say, or absorb affects every component of the universe around us. Law 2. The law of vibration. Everything seen and unseen, physical and non-physical, is the movement of energy. The universe vibrates in patterns, whether it be our physical world, thoughts, feelings, or desires. Law 3. The law of inspired action. Every thought has a frequency. Before we act, we achieve more by first receiving inspiration from a place of alignment than we do by forceful action. Law 4. The law of cause and effect. Nothing happens outside of universal law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Good or bad, we reap what we sow, also known as karma. Law 5. The law of compensation. We create space for positives by letting go of negatives. This empty space allows room to fill with new focal points. Law 6. The law of correspondence. The principles of physics, the physical world, directly correspond to etherics, the universe. Therefore, our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. As above, so below. Law 7. The law of attraction. Positive or negative, whatever we focus our energy on the most, we will attract into our physical space. Law 8. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. Higher vibrations consume and remake lower ones. Law 9. The law of relativity. Life is happening for us and not to us. All contrast we encounter is an aid in our future evolution as our desires unfold. Law 10. The law of polarity. Everything has an opposite. Therefore, we can transform undesirable thoughts by focusing on the opposing pole. Law 11. The law of rhythm. Everything vibrates in natural rhythm. Keep momentum through cycles by not getting too excited or disappointed, but rather keeping in rhythm with the music of creation. Law 12. The law of gender. Everything has both masculine and feminine energies. Both energies must be embraced and balanced in order to create. Chapter 3. Placing our order with the universe. Ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. Maya Angelou. The production of neurochemicals is the explanation for the physical feeling of happiness. Neuroscience shows us that a mix of neurotransmitters and hormones gives us a sense of pleasure that we interpret into a variety of emotions such as happiness, joy, or excitement. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin are a group of chemicals known as the happiness trifecta. Interestingly enough, these chemicals peak not when we receive something we desire, but actually just before. Christmas happens in our heads. Manfred Spritzer, brain researcher. It's the anticipation of opening the presents on Christmas that gets us so excited, which is why actually receiving the gift can feel somewhat anticlimactic. In the same way, expecting that the manifestation itself will bring the feelings of satisfaction or pleasure is actually a block. The gift itself is not what releases these mood-boosting chemicals. In this state, we are expecting the manifestation, the gift, to give us that boost in mood instead of the anticipation from knowing the approaching manifestation is imminent. Once we truly believe our desire is manifesting, we can simply live in the anticipation. Just like the sleepless night of excitement on Christmas Eve, knowing how the following morning will commence opening the presents already sitting under the tree, this knowing is what leads us to fully anticipate our next step, the desire materializing into our physical space. Or, in other words, manifesting. How easy and fun is that? The adventure of creation is what brings satisfaction, not the end result. Okay, I get the blocks thing, but what does that actually mean in the real world? It means that if we hold a desire in one hand and doubt in the other, we are in split energy. Well, how do I know if I'm in split energy? Maybe I'm just being cautious. The easiest way to identify this energy is with one simple rule. Anywhere there is a but, there is split energy. I do love him, but of course I want to be an actor, but I want a good relationship with my family, but when our desires are not aligned with our beliefs or actions, that dissonance is blocking us from the desire. Think of the universe as a server at the world's most fabulous restaurant, and we are the guest ordering dinner. The menu is inspired. It's wonderfully enticing, and we see so many people around us enjoying similar items. The server comes to our table, we state exactly what we want on the menu, but in the same sentence also tell the server, the universe, we're not quite sure we actually deserve the meal we just ordered, or we don't trust that it's going to be brought to our table. That is split energy. Now is the time to identify split energy and release it from your experience. While we think we're ordering desire, what we're actually ordering is confusion, and the universe delivers it over and over again. Cycles. So how do we remove these blocks so that our default state of being is creative versus stifling, desire-based versus confusion-based? It's quite simple. With ease. Ease is the absence of effort, worry, or fear. Now, let's rewind this restaurant scenario and do this once more, but this time from a place of ease. We've just arrived. Once seated, we pore over the menu, seeing options that interest and options that don't. However, this time, there's no pressure to choose this or that. We know that whatever we order, the chef will prepare and the server will bring right to our table. We make our selection, we inform the server, and that's it. We know that within a short amount of time, we'll be feasting on our delicious choice. Doubt, worry, and fear don't come into play. We didn't shop for the ingredients, we didn't prepare the components, or heck, we didn't even learn the culinary tricks necessary to pull off a 5-star experience. Yet, we know this dinner will materialize simply because we've placed our order. So why is placing our order with the universe any more difficult than this? It's not. Let's unpack the above-mentioned steps of our manifestation adventure from this perspective of placing our order with the universe. This exploration will demonstrate exactly how easy it can truly be. Let us simply agree within ourselves that it is allowed to be.
Well, that was the first 4 chapters of the Manifestor's Guide to Ease audiobook. Charlie, listening to that again, how does it feel? Every time that I listen to it, I love it.
Every time I listen to it, again, like you said, we wrote this, but I get something new out of it every time. And then I even get reminded of just where I'm still overcomplicating things in my own life. You know, I always say to our members, you know, we're coaching and mentoring a community of master manifestors. But doing this constantly shows us more, which is just, it's a value exchange. It's of course, it's supposed to. As anybody engages and mentors, teaches, provides value to others, you will find your own value coming back. So that's what I get when I listen to this book again.
Well, and what's interesting, we just listened to basically the intro part of the book, but the book goes on with multiple steps on how you move through this process and how you use the universal laws to introduce more and more ease. And every single chapter introduces more and more and more ease until you finally get to that end. And I'm telling you, every time I don't care how it makes me sound. I'm just going to be honest with you all right now. I'm going to be vulnerable. When I get to the end, I kind of get emotional every time because it is so freeing. And it's not like I'm on the verge of tears, but I kind of have that little, frog in the throat thing just because it is so freeing. It takes that weight off and you're like, I am powerful. This is easy. I can feel this way all the time. And that's exactly what we intended for this to be, is to take you on a journey through ease and remind you constantly of the state of ease that you can tune into all the time. And then, of course, we have additional tools like in the Master Manifestor system that actually shows you the very, very specific ways that you can use your brain through neuroscience and things to actually tune into those frequencies and things like that. But when it all comes down to it, this book shows you vibrationally. This experience, especially the auditory experience, shows you vibrationally what it feels like to be in that state all the time. Such a beautiful book, and I'm so incredibly proud of it. So, you guys, we are happy to announce that this book is available on manifestorsguide.com. While you're there, of course, you can check out all of our blogs. We've got, my gosh, the amount of blog topics that we have, we're currently working on behind the scenes. We got brand new blog contributors coming on board. I'm so incredibly excited. That's something else that happened during the break.
This break was so purposeful. And I would just say, pass on a little lesson. Where is your own life asking you to take a break? And maybe what would it look like to listen to that? Even if it disrupts your pattern, because it definitely disrupted our pattern. It even disrupted our notions of what we were, how we were supposed to be showing up for this business. Because, showing up for yourself and for your...
I would even say for this mission.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's beyond the business, but it's how we're showing up for our mission. And this is something that we're so incredibly open about. When you have value you're putting out into the world and you have a mission and a purpose and you're developing that purpose and growing it in others, you 100 million% of the time, every time, should not feel guilty in any way about monetizing that, because we talk about value exchange all the time. Knowing that you're providing an abundance of something out into the world that doesn't even match the monetary value of what you're charging. When you know that you could be charging 25 times the amount that you're charging, but you're doing something that's good, that's when you can feel so good about gaining your abundance and your prosperity, because you're creating that in other people. We are already seeing that in our members. And another thing we're doing, just so you guys know, we're having more of our members come on and actually tell their stories, because we are on a mission and I'm so incredibly excited about it. We are seeing the change in the world. I've said this so many times to people, and I will say it again from the mountaintops. This was ready to come into the world, whether it was through us and through this podcast and through our ecosystem and through TMG, or whether someone else was going to have it. I think it's Sarah Blakely, who is the CEO. Yes, CEO of Spanx.
She's so impressive.
An amazing story, just so you guys know. If you haven't listened to Sarah Blakely, definitely listen to her. But I think she says all the time that, ideas are precious gifts from the universe, and when they come, if you don't utilize them and recognize what they are and you don't take the charge, it's going to go to somebody else. And that's exactly what happened here. This came to us and it was like a calling, really. This is like one of the first things in my entire life that has been so far beyond me, so far beyond you. This is a calling. We are on a mission. And what happened is this break, I truly believe we got COVID, so we would take a break.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this would come in because it's showing us how to do it easier, more effectively. There's just so much that has happened during this break. But we have, moving forward, we're going to have a lot more guests on the show. And one of those guests is actually going to be our brand new director of coaching and community. We decided to get a life coach to come in and that is specifically dedicated to our members and to our community and to our coaching curriculum. We have so many great announcements coming up. My God, it's just so incredible. So we could sit here and chat your all's ear off all day, but we're so incredibly proud of this book, The Manifestor's Guide to Ease. We're so incredibly happy to be back. We're so incredibly proud of the people who have been listening, members of our audience who've purchased into the first draft of the system, the Manifestor's Guide to Ease system. You're getting a free upgrade into our Master Manifestor system as well. So that's another cool thing that's happening.
It's an upgrade. Like
it is beyond an upgrade.
It's several levels of upgrade. Like it's a new dimension. Yes. So
yeah, I love that. It's a new dimension of learning.
That's new dimension of learning. There are a lot of other great teachers out there and missions out there talking about these ideas and principles. And, and I'm glad they exist, but I am not aware of any other who has put the objective 1 million manifestations, 1 million manifestors, right? Like that sort of specificity and that objective being out there. And what do we talk about all the time? We've got to make our mission and our goals crystal clear. Because when we make them crystal clear and we bring that goal into the space, we have a target. And that goes for anything we're manifesting in any space in life.
You can't manifest something that you desire when you're not saying what you desire. You have to know exactly what it looks like, exactly when it comes in, exactly what it feels like. And that's what we're doing here. And we can see very clearly once you develop those top 6, we call them the top 6 lifetime goals, right? These are goals that seem impossible. Our members have goals like get on Saturday Night Live and, have a huge international platform and start, being the next Shonda Rhimes and getting a Netflix deal for $200 million. And guess what? That person within 45 minutes of their first session was on the path. Now they're in the advanced levels at the groundlings, and that's where they pick all their SNL people from. And it happens from going like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, to snap of a finger 45 minutes later, wow, it's moving. That's how fast this happens. When you know exactly what you want, you allow yourself to have it, you get into this space of ease, and you stay there, and you're accountable too. That's why the success principles and the science are so important to this too. It's not just listening to universal law principles and reading some nice quotes online. It's being in the vibration through your ecosystem of creating that space for the thing that you're desiring to come into your life. Boom, bada boom. So get your copy of the Manifestor's Guide to Ease and allow yourself to feel that ease on a daily basis. And I'm telling you, if you make this a practice, like a routine, anytime you might get out of alignment, just go back to this experience. Allow yourself to read it. Allow yourself to write it. Allow yourself to vibrate in that space. And I promise you, you're going to start seeing some incredible changes in your life, even on just a microscopic level that will show you some of the changes that you can extrapolate into bigger areas of your life. Whew. It's good. It's powerful stuff.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Well, Charlie, we're back and we're better than ever. We got some great episodes coming up. We are doing an episode with Paige coming up. It's a continuation of the Giving Cycle episode. I'm really excited about that one. And also, because of COVID, we had another episode. What is that one that we decided to do? It's brand new.
We're going to be talking about the fear of death.
Yes. And that came really from this COVID-19 epidemic and even us just having a break and saying, you know what, we really need to address this and add some ease into the experience of, a lot of our fear in life and our blocks come from the fear of death. So when we can release that big, gigantic block in our lives and just get rid of that, you just get into this space of complete freedom. And that's really really what we're after in every area, financially, physically, spiritually, just to be free, right? Just to be free to create and be powerful manifestors. So
absolutely.
We're excited for these upcoming episodes. Is there anything that you'd love to say to the listeners as we are back and better than ever?
Thank you all for continuing to share the value, spread the love. Thank you for coming back and listening. And I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy for what we've got coming up and grateful to you all. And keep an eye on us. If keep an eye on get the book, get into it. And if it sparks anything in you, come into the Master Manifestor system.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to blow your minds.
So as always, if you found value in anything that you heard today while we were listening to the first 4 chapters of the audiobook, make sure that you share that with somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, somebody that you don't know. Just share it with somebody.
Yeah, because when you put value out into the world, value comes back to you magnified.
All right, guys, we're so incredibly proud to be back. We love you guys so much. We're so excited how this thing is just growing and rolling, and we're seeing the value in the world. We're seeing people move. We're seeing them grow. We're seeing them become abundant, and we're seeing them becoming joyful in all 3 pillars of a happy life: love and health, wealth and prosperity, balance and happiness. And that's what this entire ecosystem is about. That's why TMG even exists. So we send you guys so much love. We're so incredibly happy to be back, and we will see you right back here next week on the Manifestor's Guide Today. Take care.